Thank you, Mr. Chair. Republicans often accuse Democrats of, quote, politicizing capitalism. So I have a simple question for the comptroller. Who's the most efficient allocator of capital, Donald Trump or the free market?
The free market.
Okay, because Republicans believe the answer to that question is Donald Trump. So it sounds to me like you're much more capitalist than your Republican critics. Republicans have no objections to socialism so long as it's Donald Trump doing the socializing. A wise person once said, if you don't have a seat at the table, then you're probably on the menu. And Rule 14A8 ensures that shareholders have a seat at the table. It promotes the democratization of corporate governance. It brings checks and balances, accountability, and transparency where none would otherwise exist. The purpose of securities law, as I understand it, is to correct information asymmetries and to level the playing field between issuers and investors. Mr. Comptroller Landry, do you worry, as I do, that the Stop Woke Investing Act would undermine the very purpose of securities law and radically restrict the flow of material information to shareholders?
Yes, I do.
And Republicans often accuse cities like ours, like New York, of, quote, woke investing. What were the most recent performance returns of the New York City pension system?
Let me get the numbers. We just announced at June 30th that for the year ending June 30th, we had one-year returns of 10.3%, exceeding the state standard of 7%, and saving about $2 billion for taxpayers.
So you saved $2 billion for taxpayers. And so under your financial stewardship, New York City has shown that it is possible to do well and to do good at the same time, that shareholder value and social responsibility can be mutually reinforcing. Now, under the Stop Woke Investing Act, the word material is radically redefined. It will no longer include, quote, any portion of financial risk that primarily relates to events that involve a high degree of uncertainty regarding what occur in the long-term future. And so with that definition in mind, I want to present the following hypothetical to you. I sit on the China Committee, and we in Congress have a bipartisan concern about rising tensions in the Taiwan Strait. So suppose I were a shareholder of the Taiwan Manufacturing Semiconductor Company, and I had a desire to file a shareholder proposal asking the company to disclose the possible impacts that an amphibious invasion would have on the advanced semiconductor supply chain in Taiwan. It would seem to me that under the Stop Woke Investing Act, my proposal would not qualify as material because it involves a high degree of uncertainty regarding what may occur in the long-term future. So let that sink in for a moment. An existential risk to the world's most critical and fragile supply chain would not qualify as material under the Stop Woke Investing Act. Is there any universe in which that makes sense to you as a fiduciary?
Investing is assessing risks exactly like this one, and I agree, as I read the bill, it would not allow you to ask a company where you were an investor to assess and disclose that risk to you.
Well, look, the cruel, almost Orwellian irony of this legislation is that the most material risk that a company can face, whether it be climate change or war, would no longer qualify as material under the law. And that, to me, makes a mockery of securities law. So I'm pleased, as a pensioner in the New York City system, I'm pleased with the 10% returns. Please doubling down on your winning strategy. I'll yield back.
Thank you.